in this crochet tutorial we are going to be crocheting the top front panel of the Edwardian top. You can find the written pattern on the blog as well as a PDF for sale. Here I've completed the instructions for the front panel up to where we are going to begin our yoke. So we just have to make sure we are right side facing, which is easy because it's the extended single crochet side, right? And we've chained one and we've turned, and now it is time to begin our open fan yoke. So just make sure that you are right side facing, and you've just completed row 54, which was the single crochet row. So now we are going to move on to the instructions for row 55. Once again, this is the front panel. So for row 55, we begin our open fan yoke, and it reads to double crochet. So you can do your double crochet as you normally would, or you could also do this thing that I've just learned, which is doing 2 single crochets. So you do a single crochet as normal in the first stitch, right? And then after you complete it, you're gonna insert your hook into that left leg of the single crochet, and you're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, and then yarn over, complete your single crochet. So here we have literally 2 single crochets on top of the other, which diminishes the bulk at the start of the row, but also kind of like that gap if you start with a chain 3. So after we do our initial double crochet, we're going to chain 1, and then the instructions say to skip 4. And we do an open fan. So the open fan, you yarn over twice for a treble, and you do 1 treble, chain 2, and a treble. And we're going to repeat this treble chain 2 pattern in the same stitch until we have a total of 5 trebles in our fan. Okay, so remember, we're going into the same stitch. This is my 3rd treble, so I just need 2 more trebles. Chain 2, my 4th treble, and 1 more treble. Well, 1 more chain 2 space and then 1 more treble. So we should have a total of 4 chain 2 spaces and 5 trebles for our open fan. This is what your fan will look like once you've completed it. Continuing with the open fan stitch, row 55, we are going to chain 1. Okay, and I'm just going to make sure that I'm reading my instructions correctly. I have the written pattern next to me, as so should you. Highly encouraged. Right, so we are going to chain 1, as I said, and then we're going to skip 4. 2, 3, and in the 5th stitch we're going to do a single crochet, and this anchors our fan. Okay, then we are going to chain 1 and repeat from star. So our star begins at the skip 4. So again, skip 4, then we do an open fan, which starts with treble, chain 2, repeated until we have a total of 5 trebles and 4 chain 2 spaces. Okay, chain 2, chain 2, treble. This would be the 3rd treble. So once again, we chain 1, we skip 4, and we do a single crochet. Chain 1, and we continue repeating the process of skipping 4, doing an open fan, chaining 1, skipping 4, doing a single crochet until we have 5 stitches left, which means you're going to end on a fan. And I will meet you back here to complete our row. Okay, so I finished my last full fan, which still means I need to complete a chain 1, a skip 4, and a single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then single crochet on here. And lastly, we are going to chain 1 and skip the 4 single crochets. And in the last stitch, we are going to do a half fan. Now the half fan is done by doing a treble, a chain 2, a treble, a chain 2, and we finish with a treble. So the half fan is 3 trebles and 2 chain 2 spaces. So this completes row 55. For row 56, we are going to chain 1 and turn. So this is what row 55 looks like. We have our setup row of open fans, and now we are going to work on row 56. And we're going to do a single crochet in the first stitch. Now this first stitch should be your treble from the half fan. And then we are going to do a chain of 3, okay? And with this chain of 3, we're going to skip the first chain 2 space, and we are going to also skip the treble. We're going to do a double crochet in the next chain 2 space. Okay? So we should have single crochet, chain 3, and then a double crochet. Now we're going to chain 2. And with this chain 2, we are going to skip everything until we reach the next chain 2 space, which should be from the open fan, right? We do a double crochet, then we chain 3, and then we are going to do a single crochet in the middle treble of the fan. So that means we are skipping the treble, a chain 2 space, okay? It's treble and chain 2 space, we're being skipped, and we are working a single crochet into that middle treble. So if we take a look at what we've just done, we kind of see that we're squaring off our fans so that we can work our next row of fans. Okay, so essentially we're crocheting a line across here so that in the next row we can do our fans in these chain 2 spaces that we are creating. Okay, so picking this back up, we are now going to do a chain 3, and we are going to skip the next chain 2 space and treble and work our last double crochet for this fan right here in the last chain 2 space. So essentially this is going to be our pattern repeat, but I will read it directly as it has been written in your pattern so we don't get confused. So once we complete the fan work, we're going to chain 2, And then we are going to skip a treble and double crochet in the chain 2 space. Then we will chain 3 and we will single crochet in the mid treble of the fan. Then we will chain 3 again and double crochet in the last chain 2 space of the fan. Our repeat for this row 56 is as follows. Chain 2, double crochet in the next chain space, chain 3, single crochet in the middle treble of the fan, chain 3, double crochet in last chain 2 space of fan, and we'll repeat this until we get to the last fan. And I will meet you here for what we're going to do in that last fan because the instructions are a little bit different. So here we are, we've completed the last double crochet in the last chain 2 space of the fan, and what we're going to do next is we are going to chain 2 and we are going to do a treble in that very last stitch. Okay, right here, that should have been the double crochet from the previous row. And once we complete that treble, we are going to chain 2 and turn. So as you can see, we've squared off and now we're ready to begin row 57. So here you can see that the fans of this row will go between the fans of the previous row. And that's how we build this open fan stitch. Okay? Right, row 57. So we're going to start with a half fan. That means we start with a treble, right? And then we chain 2 and we do a treble. And then we chain 2 again and we do a treble. The half fans are 3 trebles and 2 chain 2 spaces into the same stitch. If you need a reminder on this, then please check out the notes section on your written pattern. Once we've completed our half fan, we are going to do a chain 1 and we are going to do a single crochet in the single crochet. And we're going to chain 1 again. As remember, the single crochets in this row anchor our fans. And now we are going to do a full fan into the chain 2 space. So that does mean that we are skipping the chain 3 space and the double crochet. And like I said, it's fairly obvious where we're going to do the fan just because it's going to be between the 2 fans from the first row, not the previous one, sorry. And just a refresher that a full fan is 5 trebles and 4 chain 2 spaces. So this fan is, I was going to say it's almost complete, but I'm doing the 3rd treble now, so that means 2 more trebles for this fan as well as 2 more chain 2 spaces. Right, so after I complete this treble, we are going to chain 2. Yes, and this is going to be the last treble that will complete the fan. Okay, so now let's do a review of what our row repeat would be, which is chain 1, do a single crochet in the single crochet, chain 1 again, and complete a full fan in the chain 2 spaces. Okay, so you just have to remember that after you complete your fans, you need to anchor them with a single crochet, and we repeat this up to the last chain 2 space, and I'll get back to you on how we are going to finish this row. For now, please enjoy a slow montage of me crocheting along this row. So to complete row 57, I thought I would walk you through the final instructions. So as I said, we are going to complete our repeat with a full fan in the last chain 2 space of the row. And once we do that, what are we left with? We are left with a chain 1 and a single crochet in the last stitch. Okay, so it's very, it's exactly what we've been doing all along, but I know sometimes the beginning and end of the rows can be a little bit confusing, or at least they are to me, because I am human too. So yeah, finishing that last the last fan, and now I'm going to do a single crochet, and I'm going to chain 1 and a single crochet in the last stitch, right? And to begin row 58, we are going to chain 5 and turn. So row 58 starts with a double crochet in the chain 2 space. So that means that we are going to be working a double crochet into the first chain 2 space of the fan, okay? And once again, this will be a squaring off row. So after we do that double crochet, we're going to chain 3, and we're going to skip everything until we get to that mid treble of the fan, where we will do a single crochet. We're going to chain 3 again and do a double crochet in the last chain 2 space of this fan. And we are going to repeat from and then once we do that, we are going to chain 2 and skip to the next chain 2 space. Okay, so when this says repeat from star, that means we're going to double crochet in the chain 2 space. We are going to chain 3. We're going to single crochet in the mid treble of the fan, chain 3, and do a double crochet in the last treble of the fan. The repeat finishes with a chain 2, which is the chain 2 you're going to use to skip your single crochet and create the space for your next fan. So I will leave you here and meet you back here to finish row 58. So the instructions say to repeat until the last open fan, which we've just done. So now I have this half fan, and what we're going to do is that we're going to we are going to chain 2, right, because we need to create the space for the next fan, and then we're just going to double crochet into the next chain 2 space, which means the half fan, and then we're going to chain 3, And we are going to single crochet in the last stitch, which is a treble. And there we have squared off row 58 quite nicely. Okay, and now means we work fans in these chain 2 spaces between the fans. So for row 59, we're going to chain 1 and turn, and we are going to do a single crochet in that first stitch, Okay, and then once we do that single crochet, we are going to chain 1. And we are going to do an open fan into the first chain 2 space. So that means we skip the chain 3, just in case. And you guys already know the drill here for these open fan stitch rows. We are going to create our fan, and then we are going to chain 1 and anchor the fan with a single crochet in the single crochet. Chain 1 again and begin our next fan. So we'll meet you back here to complete row 59, and then we will move on with the pattern. So to complete row 59, we are going to do a half fan in the chain 5 space. So if you remember, the half fan is treble, chain 2, treble, chain 2, and a treble. So your half fan should be 3 trebles separated by chain 2 spaces. Okay. So this is what it looks like after we've completed our open fan rows. The open fan stitch, I'm going to zoom you out so you can appreciate it, is a 4-row repeat. But for purposes of this pattern, we are only going to do 3 more rows in the repeat. So that means that for rows 60 to 62, we complete rows 56 to 58. So row 55, as we said in the beginning, was your base row. So that means that row 56 is a squaring off row, and then row 57 would be an open fan row, and row 58 would be a squaring off row. Okay, and I will meet you back here when we've completed row 62, which is a row 58 repeat. So once you've completed row 62, which should be the row 58 repeat, we're going to move on with row 63, which states to do extended single crochets. Now, if you remember, for the yoke, I'm making size 2, right? So we increased to 76 stitches, multiples of 10 plus 6. Well, now when we work our extended single crochets in this row, we are going to be doing 70 extended single crochets in my case. So we're going to be doing 6 stitches less than the ones we started with. And if we look at our finished piece, this is this section right here. So the way we're going to be working those extended single crochets is simply by working a stitch in each stitch and then 2 stitches in every chain space. Okay, so chain 1, turn, extended single crochet in the first stitch. Then we have a chain space, so I'm doing 2 extended single crochets here. And it really doesn't matter, just make sure that your stitches are placed as equally distributed as you can make them. So now we are ready to begin the neck shaping proper. Since the extended single crochet rows are right side, right? So now we're going to chain 1 and turn. We should be on the wrong side of our fabric, and that makes it the right shoulder when worn, correct? So now all sizes for row 1, we are going to do single crochets. Now if you remember, I'm working up size 2, so that means I'm going to be working 18 single crochets. Please refer to the pattern to figure out what number of single crochets you should be doing for this row 1 of the right shoulder shaping. For row 2, it's an extended single crochet because it's right side facing. We start with 1 extended single crochet, and then we're going to do an extended single crochet decrease. Now the way I like to work this is by picking up the front loop of the stitch that's facing me. Let me zoom you in. Okay, so front loop, and then pick up the back loop of the following stitch. We've got these 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through both of those loops, okay? And now we complete our extended single crochet. So this is an invisible decrease. I think it's cleaner, and it's honestly the one I always use. So now we should have 17 stitches, and you should just continue with extended single crochets till the end of the row. Okay, so row 3 is going to be a single crochet row, because you know that in the pattern we've established that the extended single crochet is right side facing, and then we do single crochets for the wrong side. So this is going to be another decrease row, which means we're just gonna single crochet 2 stitches before the end of the row. Okay, so we have 2 stitches left. I'm going to skip the next stitch and work a single crochet in the last stitch. And that means that we've skipped 1. We should now have a total of 16 stitches for size 2. We've subtracted 2 stitches from our starting point. So just remember that now for size 2, we're going to make 2 more rows without decreases in pattern. Okay, so what that means is that we're just literally going to work extended single crochets for the right side and single crochets for the wrong side. We're doing 2 more rows in pattern, so that just for me means 1 extended single crochet row and then 1 single crochet row. This is what our top looks like now that we've completed the right shoulder shaping, and it is time to move to the left shoulder shaping. Really complete the right side, we're going to fasten off, leaving a long enough tail so that we can use that tail to later seam our shoulder and have less ends to weave in. Right, so we aren't going to turn our work because now we need to work on the left side. So we need to attach yarn. And where we attach yarn is simply by counting 18 stitches to the right of the end of the row, right? So I'm just going to attach yarn and do some single crochets. That's what we need to do. So attaching yarn, and I'm going to be working over the tail as well because, again, less ends to weave in. So just continue doing your single crochets, and really the only difference between the left side and the right side row is where we do our decreases. When we were on the right side, our decrease would start on the kind of inner neck side, but now that we're on the left side, the decreases are the last thing we will do. But I am getting ahead of myself because for now we are simply going to complete our single crochets. And there should be 18 in total in my case because I am making size 2. So we've completed the single crochet row, chain 1 and turn. Now we are going to work extended single crochets to 2 stitches before the end of our row, and the end of our row should be in the inner neck portion. Okay, so just work your extended single crochets as you would normally work them, and I'll meet you back here for the decrease, and then I will leave you on your own to finish this left side neck shaping. So to do our decrease, we are simply going to again do the invisible decrease. So we pick up the front loop of the stitch next to us and then pick up the back loop of the following stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then we simply do our extended single crochet. So that was our first decrease. Now we chain 1 and turn, and we're going to do our single crochets, right? So remember that this is also a decrease row, so simply skip that next single crochet and then keep working your single crochets. So now that you are familiar with how we construct our neckline shaping, I will leave you here to complete the left portion on your own. And thank you for watching this video. Also, I want to say if you've purchased the PDF, you will find a link there for the top back portion of this top, the seaming of the shoulders, as well as the sewing of the buttons and the neckline shaping. So once again, if you bought the PDF, thank you ever so much for that support, and thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful and that you enjoy wearing your finished top. Till we see each other again in another video or tutorial. Happy crafting!